Hello, welcome to our channel. My name is Usman. Today we're going to do something which is a little bit nerdy, but also something that I think is quite cool. Now, most smartphones and most iPhones that are currently on the market have resolutions of about 12 megapixels, and for the most part 12 megapixels is more than enough, especially if you're just posting your images on social media. However, what if you wanted to double the resolution, and what if you wanted to produce better quality images? Well, today that's exactly what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a few techniques that you can use to double the resolution from the images you're producing from your smartphone and also produce better quality results. So we're in Leeds City Centre, we're going to go around, take a few pictures, and I'm going to show you how to do this. Okay, so I know the title of this video says iPhone, but that's only because I own the iPhone and that's what we're going to be shooting on today. But honestly, you can do this technique on practically any camera and any smartphone. But there are a few things that you do need. First thing is Photoshop. You do need Photoshop, and it's the desktop version of Photoshop that you need, a recent version. I don't think this technique can be done on the mobile version of Photoshop. Second thing is shooting RAW is an advantage. You don't have to, but it does help a lot. For a couple of reasons. First thing is you can dial in your settings so everything remains consistent, and the second reason is that RAW files have more information, they're more flexible, so you can recover things like highlights and shadows far more effectively than you can with JPEG. You can shoot with the stock camera app and just normal JPEGs and do the technique as well, but it's just a little bit better to do it with RAW files. And the final thing is, don't stabilize your camera. Shooting handheld is a good thing. You don't want the camera to be perfectly stable for this technique. So we're going to take a few pictures around number 1 Whitehall. We're near the canal. Oh, is this the canal? It is the canal. Yes, we're going to shoot around the canal, and we're going to take a couple of pictures, and I'm going to show you how to do this. Now, to do this, it's actually pretty straightforward. What you want to do is find the composition of whatever you want to photograph and then take between 15 and 20 pictures of the same scene whilst trying to remain as still as possible. Now, even though you're trying to be as still as possible, as you can see when you're taking pictures, you are going to cause some shake and some micro vibrations, but those minor shakes and adjustments are actually quite good, and that's what's going to help us double the resolution. So here we are in Lightroom now, and as you can see, I've taken a whole bunch of pictures, and for each particular scene I've taken more than 20 images. And the reason I've taken more than 20 is because I like to have redundancies just in case I mess up or if I do anything wrong. Now we're going to start off with this particular scene over here, which I shot in Liverpool. I know that we were going to look at the images in Leeds, but I think this example is a little bit better. So these images, I've already processed them, and I've already created this file over here, which is the 24 megapixel image, the final image. But I'm going to show you how to do this. So first of all, this is the image. We're going to look at the settings and so on as well. So this was shot at the base ISO, which is ISO 32, 1/460 as the shutter speed, and obviously the aperture is fixed at f1.8. This is with the standard lens. Now, the reason why you want to shoot RAW is because you've got far more flexibility. So you can see detail in the clouds, but if I reset this, you see that a lot of the detail in the cloud gets lost, and a lot of the details in the shadows are lost too. So if we just zoom in, you can see that we're now picking up a lot more detail, and you can push that even more, but I don't want to push it that far. Can you see the shapes in the back over here, which were in darkness before, but then once you recover the shadows, you can actually make out more detail. And this is why shooting in RAW is very useful. Not necessary, but very useful. Now, as I said, I've already done all the processing, but this is just me showing you how to do this. I've already pre-selected a bunch of images. I've selected about 15 images from the total selection because I only need about 15. And then you want to right click on them. This is after you've done all your processing, obviously, but you want to right click, you go on to edit in, and then open as layers in Photoshop. Once you have all the images opened up in Photoshop, you want to make sure that you have all of the images on the right hand side selected. So make sure they're all selected. You go on to edit and then click on auto aligned layers. Now this is an important point. You have to make sure that you auto align layers. This is just to prevent any issues like ghosting or misalignment when you kind of merge them together. And the auto function is generally fast. So you just click on OK. And once Photoshop finishes aligning all of the layers, you'll see that there are some gaps on the edges, so you could just fix that by cropping the image. Once you're happy with the crop, making sure that all of the layers are still selected, you click on Layer, Smart Objects, and then Convert to Smart Object. Once Photoshop has finished converting the images into a smart object, click on Image, Image Size, and then we're going to essentially just double the resolution over here. Now, you might be thinking that, well, you can do this to any file and, you'll get the same results, but it's not really the same. What's happening is that because we've got 15 other images, Photoshop is going to pick up detail on all of the other images and merge that together. And because there are slight changes between each image, because there's a little bit of shake between when you press the shutter and you take the next picture, Photoshop is able to pick out details and merge them together into a much more higher resolution file than you can with an individual image. So this is different from just taking a picture, bringing it into Photoshop and doubling the resolution, and I'll show you why as well. But before we do that, there's still one more step we need to take. So we're going to click on a layer, we're going to go back to Smart Object, Stack Mode, and then click on Mean Stack. Once that's done, that's essentially it. That's all you need to do. You can continue and do some edits and, edit this image to taste, but I'm not going to do that in this video. What I'm going to do now is we're going to go back into Lightroom and we're going to put both images, the original image and this up-resed image side by side, and I'm going to show you why this is actually better and how it improves the image. So here we have the final image. It's got double the resolution and I've put it next to one of the original images, so one of the individual images. And if we zoom in over here, which is towards the center, you can see that there's a lot of detail and there's actually not a lot of noise. And if we zoom in over here, first of all, you have to zoom in at 2:1 over here just to get the same framing. But you can see it's a lot softer in terms of detail, but it's also much noisier. There's a lot more noise. There isn't a lot of clarity, especially if you're looking at the wall over here. And look at how much sharper, more detailed, and how little noise there is in this file compared to this file. And this is what you can do with your iPhone, essentially. You can improve your images significantly just by using this technique, and you can produce much sharper, incredibly more detailed, and far less noisier images just by using this technique. So another situation where this technique comes in especially handy is when you're shooting in lower light scenarios. So we're going to take a bunch of pictures of this staircase in Victoria Gate. We're going to use the same techniques again in Lightroom and Photoshop, and I'm going to show you the results that you can produce using this technique even in low light scenarios. So for this comparison, we're just going to be doing a quick side-by-side. I'm not going to run through the technique because I use the exact same technique to produce these results too. And this is the image of the staircase that Broadly Group produced for Victoria Gate in Leeds. Broadly Group are actually one of my clients. I've worked with them before and they produced this beautiful staircase. And as you can see, I shot this with this super wide angle lens. The ISO is the ISO 50, so slightly above the base ISO. And if we just zoom in 1:1, or 2:1 I should say, you'll be able to notice that there's a lot of noise in the image. It's not very sharp, and there isn't an incredible amount of detail when you start zooming in. The image does break down quite quickly because of the fact that it's picking up a lot of noise. We're shooting in relatively low light. I mean, the shutter speed was only 1/25 of a second. Now, if I just scroll across to the double resolution image, even without zooming in, you should be able to tell that it just looks a lot sharper, much crisper, even from this distance. And I'll just go back and forth and you'll see that it just looks a lot better. It just looks more crisper, more detailed. It looks like it was an image not shot on a smartphone. Like, it just looks much better. Even the lighting and everything looks significantly better. And once we put both images side by side, we can start to see the differences far more effectively. So I'm just going to zoom in over here and we're going to focus on the wooden section over here. And if I zoom into the double resolution file, you'll be able to see how you can actually make out the grain in the wood. I mean, that is incredible. Like, look over here. It's just noise. It's just soft. There's no grain in the wood. It's just not there. But over here, you can make out the grain. You can actually see the texture, which is incredible. I mean, this looks like an image that was not shot on a smartphone. It looks like it was shot on a much better camera. I mean, it's much sharper. It has significantly less noise. It's just much better in almost every regard. Even if we're looking at the staircase, look at this staircase. It's just muddy and soft. And look at the staircase over here. There's so much detail. It looks incredible. Like, there's a ridiculous amount of detail in comparison. Everything just looks sharper, more detailed, more defined compared to just the standard image, the individual shot image. And this is what you can do by using this technique. You can produce significantly sharper, more detailed, lower noise images. So there you have it. That's a slightly nerdy technique that you can use to improve the image quality of your iPhone or any smartphone for that matter. Just want to say thank you so much for watching our video. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, share this video, and we hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you.